Good day. I'd say good morning as I record this. It's just after 11 on Wednesday, June 17th. We could say the summer's going quick, but it's not even summer yet, and we have a lot of June left, and I think we're going okay calendar-wise. Kara Cohen is helping me record this, and Joe Murphy's been a big help with a lot of the live streaming duties, sometimes in person. Sometimes, as you know, Father Nikolai or I set it up ourselves at Mass. And haven't talked to you since a couple big things came out this way anyway. I know you've seen them in the bulletin, and the review is coming out this week. So first of all, yes, I have a new appointment. I've been pastor here 9 years, been blessed, been very wonderful to meet you. So many experiences here, so many meetings, successes, some difficult times. But it's a good time to leave in the sense that we're in a strong position, even despite being shut down for a couple of months. We're starting all that back up. Father Nikolai knows everything that's going on. So yes, I do feel sad about leaving. As soon as I start to move a few things around to get ready, even though it's the end of July, I feel a little sadness about leaving. As you know, I'm appointed to St. Monica's Church as pastor. It's right on 270, right at Olive Street Road. You can see it from there. It's kind of up the hill. I don't know how historic it was. It goes back to right after the Civil War. They have their own cemetery. Some of their original people are buried there, and occasionally parishioners, I guess. And I didn't know till yesterday that St. Monica's was the mother parish of Incarnate Word on Olive Street and Ascension Chesterfield, and probably several others, probably St. Richard's and St. John Bosco. St. Monica's used to cover a very large territory after the Civil War, and these parishes were taken off of that. I went to the funeral at Incarnate Word yesterday for Father Jim Vowles, who was just a year ahead of me in seminary, and heard a lot of these stories about St. Monica's being what started off Incarnate Word and the others. So the only reasons are that we're having a struggle to support the expenses of two priests, with different benefits in that. It gets more and more expensive every year. And size-wise, we're right on the cusp. Most parishes our size do not have a second associate pastor or priest because of the thinness of priests in our diocese, how thin really we're stretched out. So both for finances and for the lack of priest help is why we are being reassigned at this time. St. Monica's is about the same size, a little bigger. Right now I don't have an associate scheduled there. There could be a senior priest or something like that some point in the future, we're not sure. Father Nikolai will be pastor, but not immediately. He's called administrator, parochial administrator, parish administrator. All the obligations and rights and responsibilities of a pastor. And I think he's very ready. He's been a wonderful associate, wonderful partner in all of our work that we've done. He knows everything about the parish, all the finances, all the liturgy things. He's been very active in the youth group, even online lately, and done many, many communion calls and anointings, as you know, funerals with me, sharing that load with me. So he's very ready. I think we're blessed. It's an incredibly easy transition to have a priest who's been here for a couple of years be taking over. So I will be starting there July 28th, and we'll look to have some kind of an observance that last weekend, to kind of a farewell. In the meantime, we have a new archbishop, another appointment coming. Rosansky, we can get used to saying Archbishop Rosansky. That's a mouthful, but one side of his parents anyway are Polish. He grew up in Baltimore and was a bishop, auxiliary bishop, and assistant bishop for Baltimore. I think this is a big advantage for us. Baltimore is very like St. Louis. It's somewhat bigger in population, but it splits with the county. It does not belong to its county like we don't belong to our county. Government advantages, more disadvantages, I think, now than that. Some of the racial issues and crime issues that we experience throughout our region, the city in particular, are very similar to Baltimore. So he won't really have a learning curve as far as an urban area with the racial mix and the diversity, which can be very much of a strength, as you know. And Baltimore, of course, one of the very first dioceses of our country. So we like to brag about us being 200 years old as a diocese. Baltimore is older than that. He will come in ready to serve, and if you heard his press conference, very relaxed, very difficult questions given to him about some of the clergy child abuse scandals, some of the financial decisions about parishes, and all of that. Very relaxed. He's dealt with it, and I think he comes in. It just sounds like a wonderful fit. Archbishop Carlson was very excited about it too. So there's that. Now, in terms of our church and reopening, we're going very well. There's no new regulations or no limitations have been lifted by now. The same size, we're to stay under 100 at our services. The pews continue to be roped off. Masks required indoors. We clean after every Mass. We have a hired person and volunteers who come and do all the wiping, and we have these electric misting machines now for the seats and everything. The entire church is sanitized between Masses. Crowd's growing a little. We only have 2 Masses on Sunday compared to 3. The Mass that's now at 8 would have some of the crowd of 7 o'clock and some at 8:30. So we had about 80 people on Sunday, which was our biggest crowd since March when the Masses were suppressed for a while. About 80 people, everybody in masks, everybody separate pews from each other, and we think it went well. By now it has been a month that we've had Masses. We don't appear to have any increased infections of the COVID-19 disease at this time. That's one of the milestones that I mentioned in the previous video. If you wanted to wait to see if it's safe, as far as we know, to come to church, we've been there a month. We have no new infections that we know of. We've heard nothing bad about the other dioceses. I'd like to see about all the Missouri Catholic dioceses. We've heard nothing bad about that either. So if you're relatively healthy and you would like to do it, it's some risk. Wear the mask. It's some risk to expose yourself, but it appears to be a set of safe practices. On the other hand, the higher your age is, into the 80s, and any other condition like heart or diabetes or high blood pressure, it would still not be a good time. It's too easy to be exposed to this, and to catch it would mean some pretty hard consequences. So I would say those feel strong and healthy into their 80s, probably not beyond, could begin to make the choice if you want. If you don't, it's really okay to choose not to. You are not obliged still to come to Mass on Sunday. That obligation is lifted. You can watch the live stream if that feels more comfortable to you. Remember, we're going to be in this mode until January or so. We don't even think we're going to have the vaccine till January. And after that, I don't know how long it'll be. So we need to get used to it, wear the masks, take the temperature before coming to Mass, observe the pew restrictions, and just be considerate about your choice. Any kind of cold or whatever, then you would really not come up. I would ask you not to, because you really don't know what you're carrying and exposing to others. Now, taking communion out, we can begin to cautiously take communion to those at home. Neither one can be sick. If a person stays home one Sunday because they're sick, we're not to bring them communion. It sounds ironic, but at the point of death, the priest would go. Father and myself, we've done those. If a person just chooses not to stay back, not to go to church and stays back, they cannot be brought communion. If a person is sick at home, they cannot be brought communion. So we're talking about people who can't walk or otherwise kind of trapped in their homes but are not sick, on our sick list but without an active disease. Then one of our ministers could be delegated. I would ask you to call. We never take communion away from church in our hands anymore. Call and let Sister Emily, Peggy, or Gina know that you wish to take communion to somebody. Beyond that, we were able to work our first communion with the kids, second graders, on Saturday. What a wonderful time it was. As joyful as any first communion I've ever been. It was only the children and their parents, no grandparents, because it kept us under the number that's safe to have. The kids participated, they did readings, they did answer questions for me in the homily. It was very fun. They were smiling outside afterwards. We took a lot of pictures, and we could not give them communion from the cup like many of you, I got communion only in the hand. But we were able to give them this cup I'll show you that had their name on it. I meant to get this out of the box for the video, but every child, were not able to serve communion from the cup, but they got their own communion cup to take home, and it looked like this. Very nice ceramic cup with their name on it and the date of their first communion. So every child got one of these to take home. I could go on and on about it, but I love First Communion, and they did wonderful. You can watch the First Communion Mass. Go to our website or watch the package of videos from last Sunday, Corpus Christi Sunday, and you can watch the Mass or zoom through it. By the way, one of our mothers is from Peru originally. Her family's in Peru were watching, so we were getting on the YouTube thing. If you watch it that way, you can see a number of comments from Peru, live stream watching our First Communion. That was kind of neat to happen. So Corpus Christi's over, and that means we're back in Sundays of ordinary time. Pentecost ends the special season of Easter, so the weekdays are ordinary, but then we had Trinity and now Corpus Christi. So next Sunday will be an ordinary Sunday from now all the way to Advent, maybe one or two special feasts in there. And it's fun to just take a little piece of the gospel every Sunday and for the preacher to reflect upon it. Finally then, Sister Emily, as you may have heard, she is up there in years, incredibly energetic. I admire her. And she is retiring. Her order has granted her that. She'll be staying here at her home nearby and attending Mass here with Sister Joanne. Sister Gabe lives nearby. She'll also be here. But Sister Emily has served since the beginning of the parish in 2005. Same energy all the time. I haven't seen any drop off. But she knows it's time, and it's a good choice for her. She's mostly stayed away from Masses. Now she's coming to Masses carefully on Sundays. And I know how she's held in regard in the parish, as I do too, and Father Nikolai and our deacons and everybody. So we're going to present her with a gift, not this Sunday, but Sunday the 28th. This Sunday is the 21st, I believe. Next Sunday, June 28th. She'll be ending her service at the end of June, and we're going to make a little award to her at the Mass that day. So if you want to be there or if you want to watch it again on live stream, send her notes to the parish office here, 1210 Paddock Drive, 63033. Send Sister Emily any notes, drop them through the door. She doesn't want gifts or ask for gifts, but just appreciation of anything you'd like to give to her would be very nice. And we're still limited now, I meant to say, under the Mass Mart by crowd size. We still can have not more than 10 in our buildings. So we don't know what we're going to do later for farewells. But for now, for Sister Emily, she's going to be around here. So we'll have a special day dedicated to her in a few months, 2 to 3 months, when the crowd size can be bigger. And we can have something ideally in the hall where we don't have to worry about that. She'll be around, so we'll be able to have something for her. In the meantime, get her your cards and letters. Share with her how she's been able to be with you. That's it. We're doing very well. I'm very proud of all of us. I'm in awe of Father Nikolai, too, who does a great deal. Our new parochial administrator as of July. And I'll be able to have another couple of videos, maybe or more, between now and the end of my time serving here. Thank you for hearing these things. We get good comments on them. A lot of my information today is also in the pastor's pen, but I think it helps to just speak it visibly to you, and to hear it this way, I get out a lot of information to you in my care for you all. Thanks a lot. Take care. I think you're doing very well, and pray for all of us. God bless.